Greetings, fellow humans. Welcome to the Brandon Lunch Bunch. We're a group of business owners and professionals in Central Florida, and we're getting together to share tips and ideas on doing business in these stay-at-home COVID times. Online meeting services provided by a Better Choice Network Solutions. Brandon Lunch Bunch is a production of Pacesetter Media.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the last Brandon Lunch Bunch of 2020. Finally, right in our last month, and looking forward to 2021. And this month's theme is lessons learned this year from COVID and doing business, and everything has changed this year. And that's going to be my theme today. And let me introduce our panelists today. Ryan, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Ryan Cabrera. I'm with Champion Payments. We're a payment processing and point of sale system firm based in Brandon, Florida.
Thank you. And Darren.
Hey, everyone. I'm Darren Dennington with Service with Style, and here to talk to you a little bit today about what we've learned over the last 9 months. And I guess for me personally, I've learned that businesses are very adaptable and that they can change and pivot and rearrange and hopefully come out a little stronger. So excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you. And Ryan, you're up first. Take it away.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Dave. So the electronic payments industry is an interesting industry to begin with. And it's funny, there's been a lot of stuff out there on and I know what the dark web is, but consider the dark web out there. There's a lot of conspiracy theories around electronic payments. But I will say that if nothing else, just from a pragmatic standpoint, the electronic payments industry has really stepped up in the midst of this pandemic to help businesses and consumers, do things that they used to do, but in a manner that they're more comfortable with during, COVID times, so to speak. And so one of those things has to do with payments that are in a contactless fashion, whether that's using an app that, for example, let's just use, your drive-through or your pickup and takeout restaurants that you can now pull up in their parking lot. You've already got your order in, you tell them what space number you're in, and then boom, 3 minutes later, they walk it out to your car. And you've already paid for it, and the transaction's already complete. Things like that help people still go about their business, but add another layer of safety for them. Other forms of contactless payment where they're using their phone and they're not having to touch a PIN pad or something like that. I think the average person, from just a common sense standpoint, looks at common surfaces a little bit differently today. Things that other people are touching and that a lot of people are touching. So, for example, there's a grocery store chain down here in the Southeast called Publix that does a great job of having people within their little vestibules or their little foyers that are, wiping down carts that people have used. So that's a fantastic adaptation that they've used that we've seen to help with people being more comfortable in their stores. Well, the same thing can be done in small businesses. When it comes to pin pads and things like that, you can have the type of equipment that allows for people to bypass, entering a pin if they don't want to, that they can use their phone or a card that has that contactless, EMV, or NFC payment technology built into it. And that way, these common surfaces are not being touched over and over and over again. And even for employees, say, we do point of sale systems for restaurants and retail. And so when you have common surfaces that are being touched a lot by people, one of those is, or by the employees, one of those is the screens on these, because they're touch screens. I mean, touch is in the name of the technology that's being used. And so just people using, saran wrap covers over those, and then replacing them several times a day, or wiping them down on a regular basis. I've seen these things happening. We've provided actually wipes and things like that to several of our customers in order to facilitate just being more sanitary and things like that. But I think that the mindset of people in general has changed drastically. I mean, I've probably shaken 3 hands in the last 5 months or so. Just because people are either, fist bumping, or they're, giving you the elbow or something like that. And so I think all of these things are lessons learned because of common surfaces. And in a payment environment especially, everyone has to pay for their goods and services. And so it's a central, point of contact that people are running into. And so there's been a lot of ingenuity in that case. But, other things, there's been some governmental intervention as far as what businesses can be open and not. And one of the things that I think Darren's going to talk about that I've been pleased to see is just the absolute, creativity and ingenuity of businesses and just their sheer will. And I think those things win the day in a COVID environment. I also think timing is important. People are tuned into social media and the news cycle on a consistent basis. And so doing the things in your business that are going to make sure that people are comfortable and confident when they go to your business can really set you apart from the competition. And then, I think the last thing that I've learned is that some things that we've seen pop up during COVID are going to be here for a while, especially from a payments technology standpoint. One of those being when you get a receipt and it has a QR code on it, and you can use your phone and that QR code to pay for your bill and things like that. Paying through apps, contactless payments, and that. And so I think these are good things, and I don't think that they're going anywhere. And I think we should, embrace some of these things because I think it's probably better for the long term anyways. Now, I don't think for the long term people want to wear masks and all of that, or that we'll be able to force them, but I think all of us have hope, and I'm hopeful for 2021. I'm hopeful for the vaccine and all of these things to come and help us, kind of make it through so that we can put a lot of things we do want to leave behind us, in 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good stuff. And I too, the theme is lessons learned in 2021. And it starts with, I can cut my own hair. That's something I learned. What do you know? More importantly, I can, and this applies to lots of people, we can do lots of things we didn't realize we could do before, like adapt to business and all these changes. Many businesses have changed and just driven on. A lot of people have suddenly switched to doing online meetings. Everybody in Brandon Lunch Bunch, with the exception of Larry, hadn't done much, if any, online training and online meetings and on-camera work. Everybody in Brandon Lunch Bunch came up, started learning how to do it, and we all now know how to do things differently than before. So we can adapt to this. And in particular, I can cut my own hair. I didn't realize that until this year. And grocery stores, or more importantly, essential workers. What the definition of essential workers is. It's firefighters and police, certainly, but it's also the county workers and grocery store workers and restaurant workers and so many others. Could you imagine the chaos if grocery stores had closed? It was essential to keep them open. So the definition of essential workers has changed significantly, and that was a eye-opener for me. The role of luck. Now, I took some hit in my business this year, but there are people who had far worse luck than that. And I want to acknowledge the seriousness of this for so many. I joke about I can cut my own hair. There are some whose businesses, events businesses, or individuals whose jobs in those industries was just wiped out entirely. So it's just, there's some luck, and I feel lucky and fortunate that I had a business I've been in for 20 years, diversified enough that I can continue business even though one part of my business took a hit. And having a diversity in the business, that's an important lesson for me. I took a hit on print, promotional items, signs, all those things to do with events. I didn't go and work some events this year because there were none. But I had other projects and other parts of my business that did help carry me through. So it's a lower year than before, but the fact that I had some other lines that I in my business helped out a lot. And customers. I've been in business 20 years. Of course, everybody knows you need customers. What I mean here is, the loyal customers. The fact that I've been in business for 20 years boy, that helped too. A lot of my business this year came, as it does every year, comes from loyal previous customers. So that's a good thing too. I feel lucky that this happened when I'm in this point in my career versus someone who started a business 6 months ago or 12 months ago, just started, doesn't have the book of clients, and can't grow because of what happened this year. So loyal customers, having loyal customers and working to keep those loyal customers, that's an important lesson. And it works. This online networking, I've gotten business now from online networking, people I've never actually met one-on-one. And I've joined multiple leads groups, meeting people in Pinellas County who I never would drive the hour to go to a leads group to before. Now I can go to these leads group. It takes an hour and a half total time. I just turn on the computer. Here we go. Brandon Lunch Bunch works. I've gotten some clips where I think we've all gotten some benefit from the practice of it, as well as just the links on YouTube. I make sure there's links everywhere. And it brings some street cred when people go to my website and see all these clips. So there's parts of this, it just works. Meetings and online networking just works. And for 2021, if I can give one thing I would suggest is this: play with your rectangle. Now, I'm in the business of media. So when this happened, I was sort of ready for it. I had lights. I have a studio. I moved my studio this week because I'm painting the office. I have the camera and know how to use the software. So I use this rectangle I'm in, and that's what we all get. We go to a meeting. We have this rectangle. It's a visual medium. Use the visual medium. If you can be fancy like this over the shoulder graphics of the lower third, great. Or watch what I can do, show you the studio, switch to a different camera with a keystroke. So now you see the studio. If you can get that fancy, great, but it doesn't have to be that fancy. It could be this. Having some pre-printed things to write on, right? It's visual, and try to use the visual to reinforce what you're saying. And if you're doing a sales meeting, use the visuals to promote that. If you're doing networking, same thing. As you're saying something, show a product, if nothing else. What I see lacking in a lot of people in the meetings I'm at is they don't use the visual quite enough. They look at the camera, good stuff. They're set up and they're on camera and speaking. But to the degree you can now use this rectangle, use it. It's a visual medium. And again, back to the I can, we're getting into 2021. We can cut our own hair, use the medium, and move forward. Thank you. Darren, off to you. Thanks.
Well, thanks. And I appreciate you having me today. And here at Service with Style, Secret Shopping and Consulting, I guess the first thing that we really learned from the past 9 months is that businesses can really change and adapt. And we've been put into a situation where we've been forced to get through the business environment for the past year. And I've generally seen so many businesses change and adapt, and where we used to walk into full service restaurants, they're now to go with a grocery market. And so many models have changed. And the first thing that really took place was we were forced to make decisions, right? We had to, as business owners, had to really grapple with some tricky choices. And a lot of people were in a lot of different situations. So I've seen some businesses absolutely thrive through this. I see a lot that are hunkered down and just trying to get through it. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of closures. So those decisions that we were forced to make, I hope that business owners and managers really took the time to review what was going well, make those hard decisions. We focus a lot on restaurants, and if you used to be open for breakfast and breakfast wasn't open, I hope you're not doing breakfast anymore. So we had to come up with very quick, pivotable, hard decisions to make. And that's what was forced on us. But then what we saw is the businesses that either put their head down and really worked through it or were able to be successful. The key that we really saw was on the leadership side, where somebody grabbed hold of the business and said, this is where we're going. These are the key decisions. Here's our priorities. And they practice some really good, strong leadership traits. They have to be compassionate during this time. Absolutely. They've to work with good employees, you have to understand what they're going through. And you've got to be a phenomenal communicator right now to make sure that you're building the morale and you're building the culture and your team is rallied around you to grow and get better and better. As hard and tough as it is today, that leader can paint the picture going forward. And I guess the piece that I hope everybody is going to be learning is lessons from what took place in the economy 2008, 9, and 10. And it was a long rebuild for a lot of small businesses based on the economy. So now I had to make choices of, do I eat at home or do I go out based on dollars? And I know we're in a really tough economy now, but that's going to last. So what I hope everybody's going to focus on and learn going forward is that the customer experience, the way that you connect with your guest and the way that they value your business is going to be imperative. If I used to dine out with 10 or 12 restaurants regularly, that's probably going to be 2 or 3 moving forward. Our habits have absolutely changed, and we're going to see a lot of changes that we don't yet understand from the guest perspective. So you have to understand what your guest is thinking, what they're feeling, what they want, and reach out, survey them, talk to them, get to understand. So if we're going to figure out how to get over this, right? We've been working on getting through this. If we want to get over this, and it's going to take time before we get there, but I feel it's got to be focused on the leadership and driving dynamite customer service.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I still have my cut my own hair thing up. There you go. Yeah, so thanks. Usually at this point, I would, first I would always say, make sure you stay active, get up and get some exercise sitting at home. Over my 20 years, I've learned that you can't just sit. You need to get up, get active, do something as often as you can. And then at this point, I would usually put up the next Brandon Lunch Bunch, but there's going to be no Brandon Lunch Bunch. This is the last one. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Darren, and everybody else who was a part of this, and anybody who happened to be watching this clip after the fact. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Dave.
See y'all about. Okay, so it's me. I'm back. And I just want to end with a quick thank you to everybody who made Brandon Lunch Bunch possible, from Skip Cohen, who inspired the idea, Larry Becker, who's been an inspiration and an idea guy with me for 25 plus years. Great working with him on such a project, as well as Dave Thornton, who provided the meeting services at Better Choice Network Solutions. And all of the panelists who you see on screen now, thank you. It wouldn't have been possible without everybody. I'm able to put all together all the technical stuff, but it requires people who come in, give us their expertise, and offer the ideas that we shared here to create some content without the chaos, as I've been saying. So thanks to everybody. It's been fun. I look forward to 2021. Thanks.